But it is a disciple's prayer. And you can tell it's a disciple's prayer by its commitment. It knows God as Father. It hallows God's name. It calls on His kingdom to come and the will be done. If you notice the first three petitions, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, are all petitions, or rather what we call praise, because it looks at God in a sense of praise. Hallowed be thy name, praise. Thy kingdom come, praise. Thy will be done. Notice the first three petitions is praise. It has nothing to do with what I want. So I'm coming to God, first of all, with praise on my lips. I'm coming to Him, thanking Him for His name. I got His name has been holy. His kingdom, I want His kingdom to come in my life. I want His will to be done in earth as it is done in heaven. No questions. That's a disciple. Then, if you notice, he moves from praise to petition. Then he says, give us this day our daily bread. The purpose of this text is Jesus is teaching us the proper protocol for prayer. That when you come to Him, come to God, see God as Father, but you also got to deal with Him as God, as worshiper, as somebody to worship. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So here again, the disciples on one occasion asked Jesus, Lord, teach us to pray. Teach us how to pray. Now, they were with Him 3.5 years, and they didn't ask Jesus to teach us how to preach. And what I'm saying, they had witnessed Him, the crowds thronged to hear Him. People got up early to hear Him. People stayed up late to hear Him. People missed their dinner to hear Him. People missed their lunch to hear Him speak. And so here He is, and the disciples heard Him preach, and we don't have any records of His voice or nothing like that, but we do have records, the fact that He emptied cities. We do have records that people, when He came to their house, they had to make room. They had to cut holes in roofs and add additions. And so, but they never asked Him to teach us to preach. Now, one of the things that you know it's really a disciple, because they never asked Him to the obvious. All the miracles he performed, they didn't ask him, teach us how to work miracles. They wondered why they couldn't. And he invokes a new understanding of prayer in addition to prayer, and that is fasting. They came to him saying, we don't understand why we couldn't cast the demon out. The Father brought the Son, and the Son and the Father later on comes to Jesus and says, I brought my Son to your disciples, and they couldn't heal him. It's almost like, what you got to say about that? And the disciples were really upset, and Jesus said, well, this kind, which is insight into prayer. There's certain situations that call for fasting along with prayer. It is denying myself the physical food so God can give me spiritual insight. Anyway, so the disciples got some me time, and they said, teach us how to pray. And they wanted to ask him, they didn't want to talk about church. They asked him, what we want you to do is teach us how to pray. Yeah. We don't want to work on feeding programs. We want you to teach us how to pray. We don't want you to work on youth days. We want you to teach us how to pray. That's what the disciples wanted to know. They wanted to know how to pray. Now, the Lord's Prayer, as we know it, the disciples' prayer, is not something to be recited. No. It's not a recitation to be recited. It's a revelation to be enjoyed, to be blessed by. But it didn't say something. No other Old Testament prophet had ever called God Father. No other one. Jesus introduces a new concept for disciples to pray. When you pray, be sure to say, Our Father. Know God as Father. What is great is that in the Aramaic it's Abba. And Abba means daddy. Isn't that an endearing term for me to call God daddy? That's close. Yeah. And sometimes we don't feel like we deserve to call him daddy. Sometimes we have certainly messed up and taken advantage of others in our lives and in the lives of other people that we meet. But he says, whatever you do, though, remember that God is daddy, and that if he's daddy, you know, sometimes We want God to really to do something to people who are messing with us. I mean, sometimes we got God planning funerals. You know, you hear people say, "Oh, I know it's just a few days and he'd be gone." I figured that, you know, you can't fool with the Lord's children. So it's not to be recited, but it talks about our relationship with God and our relationship with our brothers. Our Father, who art in heaven. That's a comforting thought. That God sees things from heaven's perspective. I can't see things. I'm wondering why he lets me go through what I'm going through. I skip all over, count it all joy when you fall into divers. I skip all over that. I don't want to hear that. I remember when somebody had died in the family, and somebody would tell me, "Well, you know, all things work together for the good." I said, "Man, don't tell me that right now."
That ain't in the spirit.
Don't tell me that right now. Our Father, who art in heaven. That's a heavy thought from heaven's perspective, from a higher perspective, not from an earthly perspective, but a heavenly perspective. Here's what I mean. When I'm praying, I'm asking God for something I really want. I really want him to do. And he doesn't do it. He doesn't do it. And sometimes what you got to know is that when you prayed and fasted, and God says no, that's a good indication you really didn't need it. That's a good indication. He said, that ain't, I don't want you to have that. That's not good for you. That sometimes you got to have that man, or you got to have that woman. And God says, no. No. And you fasted and prayed. It's a good indication. No. Nuh-uh. No. Not for you. Got something else. Heaven's perspective. Why heaven's perspective? Because God can see past, present, and future. He knows And he can see, as the song says, way down the road. He can see. And that's why it's great to be in line with God's will. But what we have to come to the conclusion is that God, in his knowledge and his love for me, sometimes says no, and sometimes it heads me off. No heads me off from falling in a deeper ditch somewhere else. No. Heaven says no. Our Father who art in heaven. And oftentimes, God heads us off of the trap the devil has set for us. No. Now, just like God has a wonderful plan for your life, the devil has a wonderful plan for your life. God is trying to work his plan to help you. The devil trying to work his plan to hurt you. And you got to know that. And then you got to know that our Father, just the mere fact that he's in heaven, just the seeing aspect. You know, they explained to us this Sunday that they got satellites that can spy, that can read your license plate from space. That's seeing a long way. They can do that. Spy on you from space. From space. Now, if we can do that, God, who made the space and who made the telescopes and who made the instruments, my God who made it is my Father. That's why I need to be telling him, have your way, because I don't know. And sometimes God has a different destiny. Has a different destiny. Here's what I mean. Sometimes when God says no, it's a destiny that he has over here for you. It's like Isaac. Lord tells him, stay in this land and I will bless you. I will bless you in this land. And I'm really looking at my own life when I look at stay in this land and I will bless you. You're going to get a lot of offers to go somewhere else, but stay in this land. Our Father, who art in heaven, I trust him as my daddy. I trust him as my father. Now let me say something. Jesus prayed everywhere. On the seashore, in a boat, on a hillside, with some demonic somebody said they're the first servant of devil ham. Our Father. Now, this passage is so rich. Every time you can't just hit it and stop. You hit it one time, you hit it again, it's something else. Our. It says to me, don't be selfish with your prayers. You know, even when it comes down to give us this day our daily bread, it's so easy to say, give me that blessing for me, Lord. It's
Give me some daily bread.
yeah. And put a little bacon with it. And some little jelly.
Double hand.
I'm saying, it's give us this day our daily bread. Give us this day our. There's somebody else beside me who need a blessing. There's somebody else beside me who need daily keeping. Our. Give us this day. Now here's the whole point. When last time you went down in prayer for somebody else who needed something? I mean, I know how hard we pray when we need something. And Lord, you know me. You made me. You know all about me. Bless me. Well, you pray for anybody else like that? This whole prayer is disciples. This is a person who is not only looking out for himself, looking out for others. Give us this day our daily bread. Give us this day. And the Lord has a concern for others. James 5:16, confess your faults one to another and pray one for another that you may be healed. The effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much.
Yeah.
And then there's so much power in collective prayer. When Peter was in jail, the church went down and prayed for him.
Yes.
Ephesians 4:32, be kind one to another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another. And that's something how we come to a point where we say, I just can't forgive them. And yet, we've let God down so many times. We've let him down. And we go to him saying, please forgive me. I didn't mean to go that far. Yeah, give me another chance. We say, Charles, you know my heart. Anyway, I'm almost through. Yes. The fact that our Father in heaven, God resides in a perfect place where his will is perfect. His way is perfect. The road, the destiny he has for me is perfect. And so what I need to do is just say to him, thy will be done. You know, one of the things is that being our Father, what he's trying to express, the father-child relationship. Your child can't see. Not only can't see, but your child is immature.
Yeah.
If it was left up to your child, he'd eat cookies for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Have dessert for every meal. But there's a certain amount of maturity on your part that says, I know it tastes good. I know you want it, but it ain't good for you. I gotta say no. Maturity. Reverend Patterson used to tell a story about how his daughter wanted, they used to make a little car called a Miata. I don't know if they make it anymore. It was a small little car. And his daughter was a little girl. And said, Dad, I know what I want for my birthday. What is that? I want a car. I want a Miata, a little car. But she didn't know that wasn't a toy. That was a real car. Now the question is, here's the question. Was he able to buy it? Yes. But could he, in all honesty and with all integrity, buy her that car 6 or 7 years old. No. No. God oftentimes has to tell us, yeah, your father is rich. Cattle of 1,000 hills are his, gold and silver is his, all his. But I can't let you have this. It's hurtful to you. So I thank God.
Yeah.
You ever have to thank God for the decisions He let you make?
Yeah.
For the yes and the no's?
Praise Him for some of those.
Just thank Him. If you don't have nothing else to thank Him for, thank Him that He's your daddy.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Thank Him that He's your daddy. All right, I'm through.